Good morning. This is Judge Alyssa Perez resuming the civil docket for the 210th District Court for October 26, 2022. Again, all matters being heard today are being heard in accordance with all emergency orders and directives regarding COVID-19. In addition to that, we are streaming all matters live via YouTube for public viewing. I'll go ahead and call our next case. Cause number 2022 DCV 0314 Ramon Carrion versus Von Fenwald's Elite German Shepherds and Cindy Hymans. May I have announcements, please?
Good morning, Your Honor. Daniel Marquez on behalf of plaintiff Mr. Carrion, and Mr. Carrion is present on the Zoom hearing.
And ma'am?
Yes, Cindy Hymans here from Elite German Shepherds.
Excuse me. Good morning. I was on mute. Good morning, Your Honor. Daniel Marquez on behalf of Mr. Carrion, the plaintiff, and
We
Mr.
heard
Carrion
you.
is present on the Zoom hearing.
We heard you. Thank you, Mr. Marquez. Can you not hear us? Yeah, the volume went down, but we heard you the first time you announced. Yeah, I'm telling you, I think there's
Okay.
something very strange happening with the Zoom function. So let's see if we don't have any issues. Good morning. We are scheduled actually today for a status conference. Now that I'm looking at it, I was assuming we were set for default. I had inquired off the record just briefly with Ms. Hymans regarding some of the documentation in preparation, I guess, for the default hearing. But am I correct? It wasn't actually set for today. Is that right? We're just set for a status conference?
Your Honor, my understanding was that we
don't
were
know.
attempting to resolve the default hearing that occurred in this case on July 13th. It was not until after July 13th and the default hearing was held that Ms. Hymans appeared on a subsequent resolution of that default hearing that the court had set. And so it's been my understanding that the court has set these statuses with respect to the default hearing from July in order to finally resolve that. And that included the court's direction to have Ms. Hymans be provided copies of the transcript of the default hearing from July 13th and any other pleadings in the case.
Well, so then to that end, let me ask this. Have we made any progress on any type of resolution outside of the default hearing?
We have not engaged in anything like that, Your Honor.
Are you
I thought that
all?
would have been nice. I did request that from him several times earlier in this whole thing, but I didn't get a response from that.
So
the issue was to get the papers, and he got the papers, and so the dog is registered. The entire lawsuit is based on the fact that he's saying that that he bought the dog for show purposes. On our contracts, we have our customers must underline what the purpose of the dog is. And I think I can show this to you, but I'm not sure. If you look on here, he underlined family pet or guardian, not a show dog. And so now all of a sudden he's a show dog and he wants all this stuff. You know what? And it happens where people may change their mind later on. We understand that. All dogs go out on limited registration. I'm always happy if people want to do things with their dogs, and that's great. But I did request from Ramon, what club did he belong to? Where was he training? What shows did he want to go to? Puppies can go into the shows in America for a pretty long time, till they're about 18 months of age without the papers, as long as they have documentation of who the mother is and the father and their foreign registration number, which he had access to all of that. And I'm always available 24 hours a day. So I don't.
And Your Honor, understanding
hold on,
that.
let's hold on a second. Let's hold on a second. So my initial question was, have you all engaged in any type of negotiations to come to a resolution? It definitely sounds like you all have not. I think what you're getting into, Ms. Hymans, is the substantive issues that would be an issue, I guess, in this case. Really, not. I don't know that we're so much at default, but obviously, Mr. Marcus, I'll address that in a second. what I think I saw was Ms. Hemans holding up a contract. And so my question was, if we had that, it is attached to your original petition, Mr. Marcus. Is that the, Ms. Hemans, have you seen plaintiff's original petition with the attached exhibits?
I think I did see it. I breezed through that again, and but it was hard to get some of those things open on
Okay, well, let me stop you right there, because I'm looking at it right now. And I know we're kind of getting into substantive matters here. But the very first thing I'm seeing on the contract is the purpose of the pup dog in hopes of family pet guardian show, and then Schutzhund. Mhm. Those three are
Yeah.
underlined. So,
No, they're not all underlined. Only the one is underlined, family pet or guardian.
that's not what I'm seeing on the contract that was
Well, then
provided.
they added that.
So,
I have
Ms.
the original.
Hemans,
Understand.
it's very hard to understand you, but it's not enough for the court to have just, you holding up a document that I can't really see fully. I need to have some type of response from you. If you're going to be arguing certain things on this default, I need to be able to see those things, not just kind of on the side corner of your Zoom screen. And so this going back then, Mr. Marcus, to kind of where we are now, okay? I know that information was provided in a default hearing on July 13th. And actually, without looking specifically at dates, I want to say we were a couple of months out before we had an appearance by Ms. Hemans. And now I think we've actually are getting more into the substance of, what might be these claims, but I certainly am not feeling that we are at default anymore. And I don't know if I'm going to have any kind of response other than what I'm seeing right now. My thought is, I know, Ms. Hemans, you've discussed certain financial constraints, and maybe I'm not sure where you are health-wise, but for me, I don't think that we're at default anymore, Mr. Marcus. And I feel like, because of circumstances, I guess, that Ms. Hemans is representing herself, that I'm going to be wanting to do an in-person hearing, and I feel like that might be a problem. Ms. Hemans, you're not in El Paso, is that right?
No, I'm in Luling, Texas, which is like a half an hour south of the Austin airport.
Okay. Mr. Marcus?
Pretty far.
Your Honor, I believe that default is appropriate at this time. Ms. Hemans has been properly served on multiple occasions with the original petition. She has indicated that she is not going to hire attorney, that she's proceeding pro se, and she, as a pro se party to this matter, she's required to comply with the rules of civil procedure, and she has not filed an answer in this matter. And I believe a default would be appropriate, Your Honor. I think that is well within the discretion of the court to entertain that.
Mr. Marcus, has there been any change in the, I guess, the parameters of your request for default, the damages, things like that, everything that was put on the record back in July? Has there been any change there? Or is that still the request of your client?
With respect to the request on the damages and the attorney's fees, Your Honor, no. Although there's been more attorney's fees since that time, he would not be asserting that.
Okay.
Ma'am, can I say something though?
Mr. Carrion, yeah.
Okay, never mind.
I can handle
Ms.
it.
Hemans,
I know.
there's, okay, well, so both of you all know, I have a notation here that the default hearing was also to continue to today, but it wasn't actually noticed as such. What I'm going to do is allow Ms. Hemans 2 weeks to provide. Ms. Hemans, are you there still? Yes? I couldn't tell if
I'm here,
froze.
yes.
It
I'm
did
just
look like
taking
it
notes.
froze. Mr. Marcus is right, and I have not received a response from you on the default hearing. Are you prepared to respond to that today?
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, I can respond to all of the things that he's claiming. But I couldn't write you a letter right this moment and send it to you, but I could do that today or tomorrow.
So the way this works is that if you have a response, I will allow you an additional 2 weeks to provide an e-filed response as the rules require. If you are going to file a response, it has to be done electronically.
Okay.
I don't know if after you've reviewed all this information from plaintiff, what they're claiming, the attachments, if you have something that you are representing is a different contract than the one that was attached to the original petition, I'm going to need to see that too.
Okay.
I need you to file that electronically in written form. It needs to be served upon Mr. Marcus.
Okay.
And I need you to do that within 1 week. Because in
Okay.
2 weeks, we're going to have our default hearing, a continuation to me, I believe, Mr. Marcus, of the default hearing with what I'm trying to facilitate is a response from Ms. Hemans on the default. At this point, Ms. Hemans, I believe I've understood from you that you have read through what it is plaintiff is claiming in terms of their default request. The money amounts are there in terms of what they're requesting for both in their petition and then in the hearing that was held in July.
Yes.
And so anything that you want me to consider in terms of a response has to be attached either to your response that you e-file and or copied to the court electronically so I can review it. That needs to be done in 1 week. So you have,
Okay, yeah, I could do that.
you have until November 2nd to provide that. We will then have the default hearing at 11 a.m. on November 9th. Mr. Marcus, I don't recall, I'm sure you've probably provided a proposed order. Please provide that proposed order before that November 9th hearing. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So I hope that has us on the same page. Ms. Hemans, do you have any other questions regarding where we go from here?
I do. May I ask a question about the training of the dog, just so that I know, to Mr. Carrion? What club did he belong to, or does he belong to with the training of his dog?
So I think this would be something that we could address in the default hearing.
Mhm.
Mr. Marquez, if she's going to have questions for your client, the court is going to entertain them. Okay. So I don't know, maybe it would be useful, Ms. Hemans, to provide with the information that you or response you provide to the court. You may want to look at providing a discovery request to Mr. Marquez.
Okay.
If there, to me, is something basically like a list of questions that you want replied to, or you don't know, you can formalize that in a request to plaintiff's counsel. Know this, Mr. Marquez, I'm not sure exactly what might be coming in terms of inquiries by Ms. Hemans, but you know, I will look at those and see if we proceed, and we'll be requesting that information at the default hearing to the extent that it will affect a court's ruling. So just know that may be coming up. So absolutely, if you have questions, need requests, make those, Ms. Hemans. Just be prepared to have those things ready to go before the court in 2 weeks.
Okay. Yeah, I do just have some questions because some of the numbers just don't add up. You know, like the grooming of the dog. The average grooming of a dog is $40. That would mean that he had the dog groomed 13.5 times. Nobody grooms their dog that many times. And that was through June. the vitamins that he says that he paid for, that's enough vitamins for 41 months of vitamins. And that's of each vitamin. So I think that he's feeding his other dogs that as well. I do have a list every month from the vitamin company who purchases, and his ordering has been sporadic. And his last order was in May, and he didn't start till February 2021. So I don't know where he purchased 2,340 pills, because that dog didn't get that much. So I have a lot of questions about those things. I think that maybe some of the facts were, maybe he forgot or misinformation or figured it out wrong or something. And I would like to know, he says that the dog was ready, he was trying to train the dog for the BH. That's great. She had to be 15 months old. And if he continued training, and then once he had the papers in his hand, which was in May of this year, he could have gone to the club and be ready for that test and do that. They talk about other titles that they were getting. Well, the dog doesn't qualify for any of those titles. She has to have a whole bunch of other titles prior to that. So I think that I'm not even sure if he's going to a club or not. I'm sure she's absolutely beautiful. The parents are stunning, intelligent, and it's not uncommon for our customers who purchase pets. Then later on, people start saying to them, oh, your dog is so beautiful, you should breed them, blah, blah, blah. And they are enamored in and mesmerized at how beautiful and wonderful their dog is. German Shepherds are no others. And that's okay, which is why we lifted the limited registration, which all pets go out on limited registration. And so,
ma'am, everything that you're discussing right now, it sounds to me that is probably part of your argument to contest some of the things that plaintiff is claiming in terms of damages. So please just get those together and be prepared for the hearing in 2 weeks. But I need to have all of the information that you are going to be wanting the court to consider the week before. Okay.
And it's going to be then at 11 a.m. on November 9th.
Correct.
And then where do I send this to? I mean, to Mr. Marquez, and then where do I send it to you? To your court?
Via email, it will go to the court coordinator, which is my.hernandez at EP County. HERNANDEZ.
Okay.
At EP County.
EPcounty.com.
Okay.
And that's spelled out, county is spelled out?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so my.hernandez at epcounty.com. Okay, great. And Mr. Marquez, where would you like me to send that to you at?
Well, ma'am, you need to have these matters e-filed as the court indicated. And so you'll need to have them properly filed. And you have my email address.
Could you give it to me again, please?
It is Dan, D-A-N, at DAM, lawoffice.com.
Ms. Hemans, if you need to verify anything, you can contact the court and speak with Ms. Hernandez. She is the court coordinator.
Okay.
If you have any trouble there in terms of any e-filing, or maybe you just need to double check emails, things of that nature. Okay.
And Mr. Marquez, it was at Dan, D-A-N at D-A-M. Sorry, he's talking to someone. I'm sorry, Mr. Marquez, was that Dan at D-A-M? Can you hear me?
Lawoffice.com.
Yeah, I got that part, but it's so Dan at DAM?
D-A-M.
Probably like the DAM, okay, for Marquez. Okay, good, we've got it. Thank you for all that. It makes life much easier.
Okay. Please make sure we have everything timely, Ms. Hemans, okay? And let us know if you have it.
Definitely. Okay, and Ramon, I'd love to see a picture of your dog.
Thank you very much.
I loved her first. Okay, then we're ending now.
We're adjourned unless there's something.